Hi, folks. I'm Gene McLoughlin. I'd like to welcome you to Old Bridge Outlook with Mayor Owen Henry. This is a program that permits the mayor to chat with you about things taking place in the township and to introduce you to people making things happen in the township. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome our Township Clerk, Kate Hutchinson. Kate, welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. And Mayor, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Gene. Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Okay, Mayor, I think before we went on the air, we chatted about a few things. Maybe just bring people up to date. How is the golf course coming?
I was at the golf course over the weekend. The greens are coming in. The grass is coming up. Looking really good. So hopefully by this time next year, we'll be hitting golf balls.
You'll be out there
sooner. I don't know if you want to call me a golf player, but I'll be trying to hit that little white thing and see if I can get it to move.
Yeah.
But it's really coming along great. They're really working hard. I think they're going 6-7 days a week on this now, extended hours. They're really trying to get everything in for the growing season here in 2022 so we can have a golf season in 2023.
And Mayor, this is under the auspices of another organization, right? Not the township.
Right. This is part of our pilot agreement with the developer that's building the warehouses on the old golf course, the Glenwood golf course, who purchased that. Part of the agreement was that if he took that golf course out of service, he would build the new municipal course, which we've been looking at for decades now. So, as I always say, the stars aligned. We're getting it done at no cost to the taxpayers to get a municipal golf course. And guaranteed income every year. And here we have a nice, beautiful, brand new resource here in town. There was just a big article published about it in the Golf Weekly, a magazine, a monthly magazine that comes out. They sent me a cover. So I recommend anyone looking that up and reading the article about there's not too many golf courses being built in the United States right now.
No more. No, I know.
So a lot of them are going the opposite direction. So we're lucky to have one. It's going to be state-of-the-art facility, not only golf, but miniature golf, driving range. So it's going to, somebody in the entire town is going to have something to do over on this site.
That's good news, Mayor.
Very good news.
How about the Route 9 project? Every time
everybody sees that.
I see a lot of happening there. What's going on?
Well, as you know, the ShopRite is being built on Route 9, where you see the large clearing from Jake Brown Road up to Schulmeister Road. That's going to be the ShopRite, the Target, an office building, and a bunch of pad sites, restaurants are going to be at that location. Back behind that, there's a residential element to the Oaks. Is what they called the Oaks 1 and 2. These projects were approved in the late 90s, middle 90s, a long time ago. And now they're finally coming around. Back off 516, which you don't see, the warehouse projects are moving forward at a very rapid pace. There's a big demand, big need to get these buildings up. And the sooner they're up and operating, the better the better off the town's going to be also. So there's a big push to get them going.
Okay, Mayor, thank you. I think it's time, Kate, to bring you on. We don't want to let you sit there being quiet. Folks, as I mentioned, this is Kate Hutchinson, our Township Clerk, those of you who don't know her. Kate, could you give us a little background, your own background, how you got to be a Township Clerk and what work is needed to get there?
Sure. So I started off as a very young child. I've been around politics most of my life. My father was involved on Township Committee down in South Jersey, so I remember kind of just running around the dais and sitting and meeting the mayor, shaking the mayor's hand, and just made me interested in politics and civil service. So that's how I got my start, and just continued to grow as I got older and got involved in the town I was living in as volunteers on different boards and committees, and then decided that I thought this would be a nice career to get involved in.
What kind of background do you need to be a Township Clerk? What kind of studying, what kind of licensing?
Okay, so you need at least a high school diploma, plus you need either a 2-year college degree or 2 years in a municipal clerk's office doing the duties of a municipal clerk. Once you meet those requirements, then you're allowed to begin to sit for the classes offered through Rutgers Center for Government Services.
Really?
There's 5 classes. You have to gain at least an 80 or better in all 5 classes. Once you pass those classes, then you earn the right to sit for the state exam.
Really?
The state exam also needs to score an 80, and I believe currently the pass rate at that for that test is 38%. Who take it actually pass.
Do you have a dotted line connection with the state in any way in terms of supervision of you or what you do?
Yes, so my position is actually created under state statute.
Okay.
There's four, I believe it's four positions in the township that are statutorily protected positions created by statute.
Okay. One thing, Mayor, I was saying to Kate before we went on the air, and that is everything seems to rotate in some way around the township clerk's office, doesn't it?
Yes. They are the keeper of the records, so anyone who has to do anything within the town has to go through the clerk's office.
Yeah.
It all starts there, and Kate does a great job. She hit the ground running when she got here. She's here all the time. I see her on Saturdays sometimes when I'm here. No, and it's a lot of work. It's a town this size.
Yeah,
The clerk's office is really the face of the town
Yes, sir.
because I think
Yeah.
Kate can go over all the things that they do handle. I'm sure somewhere during the show, but they do so much. So it's very important that we have a clerk's office that's professional. They deal with the public a lot.
Yes, sir.
They can't make mistakes. They have to be, everything needs to be right.
Yeah.
And then the records and the council meetings, it's a daunting task, it really is. And we're so far, very fortunate we have Kate here in Old Bridge, and I'm glad we made the selection to choose you into the position, because it's a very difficult position
That's
to
what we
fill.
were just talking about before we went on the air, yeah.
It's hard to find qualified
job, yeah.
candidates, and when you do, it's hard to find somebody who's highly motivated, as Kate is.
Well, Kate made a good point to me before we went on the air about, what was the phrase you used, Kate, secretary to the governing body?
Yes.
How's that work?
So I'm basically at council's beck and call, as we may say. It's my job to make them look good. So whatever they need is what Kate does.
Okay, that's how it works, huh?
As long as we're on the auspices of everything being copacetic and above board. Council's always very great with the requests they have, and they I don't have a problem meeting any of their needs and requests.
Officially, that's who Kate works for. You work for the council.
Yes.
That's one office at the council, with the balance of powers.
Yes, sir.
They have a lot of say in the clerk's office. We oversee the clerk's office as administration, but Kate is at the beck and call of the council.
Okay, Kate, are there any other duties or responsibilities you should touch on?
Well, so we already said secretary to the governing body. I'm
Yes, sir.
the secretary
Yes,
to the municipal seal. So pretty much everything that council enacts as law gets the municipal seal and my signature on it, along with the mayor's. All ordinances, which are actually the laws that govern Old Bridge and go in our code book. So I'm in charge of all of them, the legal advertising for each individual ordinance. I'm the chief registrar of voters in the town. So we do work heavily with the elections process. We do a lot of liquor licenses in town, so we're looking also at trying to possibly create some new licenses in town. There's lots of things that the clerk's office does. All the licensing for animals. We do all the appointments to boards and committees. We keep track of all the boards and committee appointments.
Wow, that's got to be work.
And oaths of office. That's
job.
part of the clerk's office. Just
Weddings.
Weddings,
Marriage
yes,
licenses.
through the registrar's office, because that's also a function of the clerk's office. We have the registrar's office in there also. So marriages, deaths, births in Old Bridge all come through that office.
So you do keep busy.
Yes.
Wow, I guess so. You mentioned election day coming up. Let's talk a little bit about that if we could. We talked earlier about some of the voting mechanisms today. You have the paper, you have machines, you have by mail. Could you just elaborate a little bit on these?
Sure. So Middlesex County, along with many of the counties in New Jersey, have started to go to electronic poll books. So now that there's become some issue where we go into the polling locations, they have to do connectivity issues to test for connectivity. So sometimes that causes a little bit of a issue in some of our older buildings, but
Right.
we can do, they have mail-in ballot. We now have early voting, which we're housing now at the library right in our complex here. And that is starts actually October 29th, and the I think it opens at 10 a.m. on Saturday, open till 8 on Saturday. On Sundays, it opens from 10, closes at 6. And it's available up 11 days before the election. So they're open for the next 11 days, taking in voters.
Well, I was going to ask you that. How early is early voting? Because I see some news now, 7 million people have voted early in the United States. What is early?
It's becoming a trend. So in New Jersey, we're required to allow 11 days of early voting. But you can always vote by mail-in ballot that you can drop in the mail whenever you feel like, as long as it's postmarked prior to the day of the election.
And don't forget about Election Day. You can still
Election
vote on
Day,
Election
yes.
Day.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
Voting
You
has
vote on
changed. Election Day is now election month.
Yeah, it sure is. I was just showing Kate an article. It was in the paper on Sunday, and it was Judge nixed mail-in ballots in New York
Yeah.
The other day. Kate, how about paper ballots? We don't use those anymore in Old Bridge. They're still used widely around the country, though.
No, the only paper ballot we use would be an emergency ballot, and that's only if Armageddon happens. And
Provisional
then
ballot.
nothing. Yeah.
Yes.
Provisionals are
And
even
Armageddon has
provisionals.
happened, yeah.
Provisionals are currently on the machine also. So unless we have a huge problem, then there would be no paper ballots anymore in New Jersey.
Okay, well, thank you, Kate.
You're welcome.
We're getting ready to take a break right now. Kate, if I could ask you to just hold your thought for a moment.
Sure.
Folks, we're talking with Kate Hutchinson, our township clerk. We'll be back in just a moment after the break. Please stay with us.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
gonna let you go.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Dad,
Just 1 minute, okay?
hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to Old Bridge Outlook with Mayor Owen Henry. Today, our guest is Kate Hutchinson, who's our Township Clerk. Kate, we've been talking about elections a little bit. Maybe we can get a little more into the nitty-gritty. How about the polling places? Where are they? How often are they open? What do people do at the district ward? What happens?
Sure. So we do have a list of all of our polling locations out on the website, but we vote at Memorial School, Cliffwood Beach Firehouse, Cheesequake Village Clubhouse, George Bush Senior Center right here. We have the Old Bridge High School, Madison Park School. There's just a whole list, and they're split by wards and districts on who votes where. Now, we recently had a rewarding and a redistricting done based on the 2020 census.
Yes.
So we did have some lines move and change. So everybody should be very cognizant to check their sample ballot to make sure that they're in the right ward and districts. If they have any questions, they can also call the clerk's office to get some clarification if they notice, hey, I'm in a different district, or I don't vote over here normally.
Right.
I believe everybody's polling location remained the same. So nobody should be at a different polling location. And if you notice that for any reason, that you should call the municipal clerk's office right away and let us know.
Okay, Mayor, to your earlier point, what are some of the issues on the ballot today? I know there's no Old Bridge person running.
Well, we have the Board of Education here in Old Bridge, which is very important.
Yeah.
That's who all your tax money goes to. It doesn't come to me. It goes to the Board of Education. So it's important that you look at all the candidates. There's a large number of candidates this year opting for the Board of Education.
Yes.
I believe there's 3 seats, so it'll be the 3 top vote getters. So you'll vote for 3, and then there's a fulfilling of a 1-year term. And I believe that one is unopposed, so that individual, but please vote. Please come out and vote for the Board of Education. Do your homework. Also in Old Bridge, we have the congressional races are up. That's at the federal level. We also have an assembly seat here in Old Bridge to fill the seat of the late Ron Dancer, the assemblyman.
Yes,
so there are 2 people running for assembly this year on the ballot. And we have some commissioners at the county level.
Yes, we do.
A sheriff.
Sheriff, yes.
Kate would know more is on the ballot, but there's still, even though there's no mayor or council on the local level, there's still very important races taking place. Do not use that as an excuse not to vote. Get out there and vote, because the people on this ballot probably make some of the biggest decisions that impact you here in Old Bridge.
That's an excellent point.
Yes, so get out and vote and give yourself a little time. As I said, there's been a couple of line changes, so people have called me and said they got their ballot and it's wrong. I said, no, your ward or district has changed a little bit. The lines were moved, as Kate said, and it was mandatory based on population. So each ward is now equally, as close as possible, have the same number of people in it. So there's a method to their madness when they do move these lines, and we had to do it. So just familiarize yourself with your ballot. Be prepared when you go to the polling station or the early voting. There's no excuse, none whatsoever, that you not vote in these elections with the absentee ballot, the early voting, and the good old-fashioned election day. Do not be discouraged on not voting.
Okay,
so,
folks, you heard the mayor. Get out and
vote.
Right, Kate?
Absolutely.
Kate, who monitors the polling places these days?
So the municipal clerk visits all of the polling sites, and it's all overseen by the County Board of Elections, who also is governed by the State Division of Elections.
Are these the poll watchers? The term you frequently hear, poll watchers?
Well, they're there to make sure that it's a smooth voting day for everybody, that there are no issues going on, and they pop in and out, especially the county. We see a lot of them coming in and out of all the polling locations, addressing any main issues. One new thing that we're doing this year is we're allowed to use what they call master poll clerks. Now, these are poll clerks that are trained at a higher level on how to fix simple machine issues, so that we're not sitting waiting downtimes, waiting for the IT staff from the county to come out to fix a machine, or if there's a question about it, can this person vote? And there's always direct contact with the county as far as by telephone, if there's ever any question. And I'm always right here. I get a lot of phone calls on election day.
I bet you do. Kate, what about eligibility? When people come in to vote, who checks their eligibility?
So we now have electronic poll books. So when you come up, you'll be asked your name, and they'll look you up based on your name and your address, and they'll verify you. They'll make you sign, and then they verify that the signatures match.
Okay. Mayor, we talked about a few things on the ballot, but one thing on the ballot seems to be standing out as a municipal question.
There's a question, yes,
that
on the ballot.
affects Old Bridge, and that is the, just checking here, the Community Energy Aggregation Program. What's that all about?
That's about a group of individuals came to a council meeting and they wanted the township to participate and put together a green energy aggregation program for them. And they were successful in getting enough petitions to get it put on the ballot. Now the people of Old Bridge will decide if that's an undertaking that they want the local government to take part in, if they want us to go out and put together a program that will allow for people to participate in purchasing green energy. My opinion is that it's there already. And anytime government gets involved in anything, it doesn't work. So,
yeah, I was going to ask
you know, right now people have access to a community green energy program. They have to opt in. Right now people can go online and get their power from a green energy source. It's all there already. I don't like the involvement of government in these. We went through it a few years ago when the town did go out for not just green energy, but energy aggregation as a whole. And it wasn't well received. You know, anytime you tell people this is what you're going to do, nobody would like it, including myself. So we had a lot of misinformation out there.
Yes.
And I see the same thing coming down the road with this. If you support it, please come out. And if we are in fact obligated to do it, we will. We will put together the best that we possibly can. But just keep in mind, somebody's going to have to oversee it. Somebody's going to have to monitor it. And that would be the township. Another thing put on us that I don't think we should be involved in.
Mayor, if I may, though, I'm a little puzzled. How can somebody get a question like this on the ballot without the, you know, the agreement of the township?
That's the way our country
mayor?
works. That's the way referendum. That's the way it works. People have the right to put something on the ballot if they want to be heard, and it's their job to convince more people to vote more. Yes, we've had a number of things put on our ballots over the past years. That's what's so great about our country.
Yeah, but it just puts
a minority, or
in
at the time, can
too.
put something on the ballot.
Puts you on the spot, too.
It's
Well, no,
because
I'm not on the spot. That's my job.
it's because of the type of government we have here.
Yes.
Also, not every municipality has referendum as an option to them. It's because we're a Faulkner Act community.
Okay.
So that allows the public, if they have a question that they want on the ballot, providing that they meet the petition requirements, it can go directly to the ballot.
Wow. Okay. One question, if I may. Does any of this have to do with electric charging stations for all the electric cars running around there?
No. The charging stations, we put a number in town. No, they have nothing to do with that.
That's a whole separate.
Right. This is the ability for the people in Old Bridge to have a program available that if they want to purchase a certain percentage of their energy, it has to come from a green energy source. Okay. And right now, our energy providers, Jersey Central, provide all the power to Old Bridge. They are under state and federal mandates that they provide a certain amount of their energy has to come from green sources. And they're under that federal guideline, I think by 2025, certain percentage, by 2035, another certain percentage. Yeah. So they're moving in the right direction to become from this renewable, which is being mandated by the federal government.
Okay. Kate, if people come to the clerk's office, what would you like them to know?
That we handle a lot of things, and we're usually the hub of the municipality, so any questions usually come our way, and we're more than happy to help anybody in any way that we can, find them the correct answer if we don't know it.
What kind of preparation or do you expect them to have, or are they looking for information, or?
It depends on, it depends on what they're coming to the clerk's office for. I mean, because we do things like license their pets. So if you're licensing your pet, we're going to ask you to make sure that you bring their rabies certificate. So it's more dependent on what they're looking for. So.
Okay. Mayor, we mentioned briefly when we were off the air at the break, we have some new policemen.
Yes, we've had a change in administration we had a few retirements. That allowed me to make some promotions. So we have some new people in leadership roles. And we've brought a number of new officers on now. We continue to grow the department. Nothing's more important than public safety.
Right.
As we see what's going on around, not so far from us, we cannot allow that type of environment to establish itself here in Old Bridge. So we're going to make sure that our response times are still there. So when you need someone, they're there within 2 minutes.
Yes, sir.
And we've expanded some of our bureaus to try to get a handle on some of these issues that are impacting our community, the drugs, the car thefts. So we're putting resources in those areas now to try to get a handle on all this lawlessness that's going on around the country.
I was just radio this morning when I was coming up here. There was another shooting in St. Louis.
Yeah.
A couple people were killed, including the shooter, a student, and it seemed like maybe a teacher.
Yeah, I don't even watch the news. I try not to watch the news anymore. It seems like every day there's
something going on.
There's something going on that I think could be avoided in most cases. So we're doing the best we can, and we'll continue to fight the fight here in Old Bridge when it comes to public safety. And the voting experience, we want that voting experience to be pleasant. No one should feel they go to the polls and get harassed. There should be a simple process where they can vote, and you should feel good about it. You should feel good about yourself, wherever you stand on the issues. It's unfortunate. We're lucky if we're going to get 3 out of 10 people come to the polls.
I was just going to ask you that.
3 out of 10.
3 out of 10, about 30% of the turnout.
And that's a good turnout.
Yeah.
And that's very disheartening to me.
That is disheartening, isn't it? Huh? Man, it really is.
There's no reason not to vote. Get out there. In fact, I think it should be an obligation that you have to vote.
Oh yeah, it would be helpful if it was. It really would be. Mayor, one other thing we talked about briefly was the restaurant week.
Yes,
we didn't touch on it earlier.
Going very well. We've been in touch with the establishments that are participating. They're very happy with the turnout.
Good.
We've had a number of locations, call up and say thank you for the amount of people that have come. We hope to look to. This is our first year, so
yes, sir.
It's a little difficult to get a new program off the ground, especially in these difficult times when the restaurant, the food service business is still struggling with staffing, cost now, coming out of COVID. So we thought this would help, and in most cases it has. So we're looking to. I've talked to Steve. We're looking to maybe expand it, moving into next year. Maybe have one in the fall.
Okay.
Again, but great success so far. We thank all the restaurants who are participating.
Well, great news. And Kate, I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Folks, we've been talking with Kate Hutchinson, who is our township clerk. You've heard all about her business. It's particularly important now with the election coming up on November 8th. As the mayor just said, we have a number of people here in Old Bridge on the Board of Education ballot. Get out and vote. There is no excuse not to vote. So get out and vote for someone, but don't sit back and let it go by without taking advantage of it. Thank you for watching. This has been Old Bridge Outlook with Mayor Owen Henry. I'm Gene McLoughlin. We'll see you next time. Take care.